Hello.
Oh, hi.
Xanthia.
Hi, finally. This is nice.
How are you?
Really good.
Well, I think I need a drink. I ate some popcorn before, and you know you get like that popcorn kind of like
Little kernels.
yeah.
Goodness.
I'm like, bro, I feel like I'm gonna cough at some point.
That's fresh. Coffee for that.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Xanthia. Tell you about me. I qualified as a psychotherapist last year.
Holy shit!
After 6 or 7.
Hang on. Opening line. I qualified as a psychotherapist.
Yeah.
How long did that take you to do that?
7 years.
The fuck?
Mm.
What's involved in that?
So much work. Oh god,
Bro, I feel like
it's
is a lot of drug taking.
a lot of caffeine to get through all the bloody exams.
Yeah, I bet.
No, just a lot of willpower and a lot of believing in your own vision.
Right.
Because the dropout rate, even just for the psych degree, is massive.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a lot of determination, I guess.
I like what you said there. A lot of like drive to kind of, get stuff done. So you were like studying during like COVID for it then?
Yeah, for a big part of it. Not when I did my undergrad, thank God.
Right.
But for the, because you finish your undergrad, you need to do like an extended major, and then that takes you on to like all the different pathways that you can go down.
Yeah. So why did you choose psychotherapy?
It's okay. In Australia, we struggle with these things. In America, because they're all so.
I'm like, did I say that right? Like psychotherapy?
Yeah.
Like your therapist, you're conducting therapy on psychos? No. What?
It's just the difference between psychology and psychotherapy. So
All right.
it's psychology is like a clinical pathway where you're able to diagnose people. And
Right.
Psychotherapy is around giving people the tools that they need to be able to like sort their mental health out.
I feel like you're going to do an analysis on me.
Already done, pal. Already done.
Shit. Where's that fucking report?
That's what this podcast is.
Hang on. This is my podcast, not your podcast.
It's just me giving a report of your mental state.
Bro, look, I think everybody has something that they're going through, and it's how you manage it and how you kind of like progress and, get through whatever it is you're going through, you know. Sometimes I think some people forget about like just being kind to others because everybody's going through something. You know, like in the last couple of years, we've just been through the global fucking pandemic and people are still, like recovering.
And I think if like the more that we see behavior, not to excuse it, but the more that we see behavior as a response and a, coping strategy, the more that we have like empathy behind why somebody's behaving the way that they are.
I mean, my best mate died. I'm still getting over it. I'm like, I still talk about him. He's still on my fridge. I still swear every morning when I get up before I go to the gym because I know he's looking at me.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah.
That's so much. My dad passed away kind of a year ago.
Yeah, right.
And so I know that feeling of like they stick around as well because they have to help you because it's such a horrible transition, like losing somebody into the next world. It's
but like the year he passed away, like it took me 6 months to kind of like fully like grieve like intensely, and then And then when I went to his parents' house in Bendigo, his parents had gone and seen a spiritual healer in Queensland, and this spiritual healer had given them a deck of cards that had a single word on it. And the idea was that they pull out a card every day, and that was the message that Christian was telling them.
Oh.
So we, another mate of mine from Perth, we went to Bendigo, and his mum tells us about this, and she brings out the deck of cards, and she like hands them round, and
It's gonna be something. for them, isn't it?
so his sister was there, two of his aunties, his mum and dad, and me and my mate. So the card goes round, and his sister gets like love, and then someone else gets like happiness. And his mum says, "Oh, like we've seen all of these cards before." My mate from Perth got prosperity. You know, we've seen that one before. And then it gets to me,
Oh Lord.
and I pull out a card,
Oh Lord.
and his mum says, "We've never seen that card before."
What did it say?
It's fucking on my fridge.
What did it say on it?
Surrender.
I don't know why that makes me emotional. Oh, far out.
Bro, that's some heavy shit.
Oh, I love it that we've gone so deep so quick. Surrender.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Like, and so
That's
like, we're coming up to 2 years now. And, you know, that word just for me means so many different things. But particularly for, like, you know, me creatively surrendering to the process of just being open to the idea of like doing lots of different things. And so, like, he knew about my photography, and he was always a like a supporter, but I just used that kind of experience to like drive myself even more, to like do more.
Yep.
And like
Yep.
that year I did 227 shoots.
because that's what happens when you do surrender, or like when you open up your heart rather than constrict.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
more stuff flows through.
Yeah, 100%.
Like it just allows opportunities and openings that wouldn't be there otherwise.
Yeah.
You know?
And then like I had a film festival reach out to me. They were like, "Hey, we want you to submit a film." So I worked on a film. I had like international phone calls with CEOs of Playboy.
I love that.
Like, I'm like, I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing or what is going on. And I'm like, okay, like, let's just keep going.
Yeah.
Just keep going. Like, see how far I can push this bitch. And like, you want me to surrender? I'll show you, buddy.
Yeah.
I'll show you.
Yeah.
Which I think is also a part of potentially what some people don't like realize about me is that like I will dedicate myself solely and wholly to an aspect and then just fucking like drive it home. I mean, like I said, I've only been doing this podcast since the 20th of December or 15th of December. And like, this is podcast number 26.
Yeah, it's great. You're obviously one of those people that has come here to experience,
Yeah.
like, as the buffet of whatever there is,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
which is just so good. It's so good.
And then also, like, I guess the podcast is really about putting the focus back on you guys, you know. And I've only met you a couple of times, but anyway.
But it was when we met, there was sparks. It was fireworks and sparks.
Well, when we met, you walked in with this dress on, and I swear to God, like, all the guys that are around me, they're
really
like,
beautiful.
they're like, who the fuck is that? the fuck?
It was this macrame fucking see-through number from an op shop.
Bro, where did you get that from? Just as an op shop? That's an op shop number? Jesus Christ. Rob
Yeah.
says hello, by the way.
Oh, Rob. God damn it.
Shout out to Rob.
Rob who couldn't talk.
Oh, yeah, he was just like...
I was like, it's all right, buddy. Anyway, nice to meet you, Rob.
I know, right?
That's what beautiful people do to people.
Do you get that a lot?
To be honest with you, and I don't have this whole like the tall poppy syndrome thing doesn't affect me because I'll say it as it is always. But since I hit puberty, people have looked at me. End of story.
Yeah.
And so I guess a lot of what I do is pretty much flying in the face of that. It's like people are going to look at me if I walk down the street. So why not just do exactly what I want to do, be as open about, anything that I want to do because...
Surely, though, you kind of like went through a period where like you doubted yourself or like you weren't confident. Like at what point after puberty did you go, fuck it?
Gee.
And can I just say, we went real deep, real quick. We're only fucking 12 minutes in.
You're welcome, everyone, for some good content. I got married when I was 19.
What?
So, yeah. My parents and I were in a cult when I was 16.
Holy shit. The fuck? What fucking cult was this?
It's like a Pentecostal Christian cult.
Wow.
Mm. And like I tell people this
Here in Australia?
Here in Australia, up
Right.
in King Lake. I tell people this story and I've talked about it before and it's kind of like what I speak about, not as a point of listen to this drama, but as a point of it's a fucking interesting story.
Mm.
But B, there are so many like collectible things that I've gained from it that it would be a shame for me not to like share those things with anybody that I can,
And if anything, like it's the experiences that you've had throughout your life that actually create who you are.
Yeah.
And so why disregard those experiences or like hide those experiences because
it's a slightly uncomfortable topic for people.
Yeah.
Or, it's not mainstream or whatever it is. Like bringing it back to like the passion to be able to get through 7 years of study. Well, what do you think that was powered by? It was powered by, experience and then wanting to really like...
And lots of caffeine.
And so much caffeine. It was like... I don't know. I think really intense you would understand this. Really intense experiences create passion. It creates momentum because it like shocks you into fucking being more than the mundane.
I think you're right. I also think that really intense like situations either, and it depends on what type of person you are. But for me, my intense situations have always been quite pivotal in like kind of forcing me to take action or forcing me to kind of like do something because I don't like what kind of happened, And as I've gotten older, and I've always been like this, like seeing negatives as positives. Like, I don't know, it's kind of weird. Like, I just have always been like, oh, that's not a problem. That's an opportunity to like do better.
Yeah. And I think we go through phases where we do use those opportunities to like give ourselves a kick up the butt. But as you get older, I think you get tired of having to use hardships to get you going. And so you're like, okay, I'll start making wise decisions now. Fine.
Yeah. I don't know what's a wise decision. So you're obviously not in the cult anymore,
Oh yeah, I've got the pastors just no.
or are you?
Joking. So my parents and I started when I was pulled out of school and started when I was 15.
Right.
15.
So, so you mentioned you were married. So this was an arranged marriage?
There's a really strong message and indoctrination within Christian circles that
Right.
you get married before you have sex with someone.
Yep.
And, you have to find your life partner and get married. So there's this huge, huge push. And I was, when I was in this cult, I was homeschooled. So there's lots of really heavy, like, emotional indoctrination. So to say that they, put me in a room and said I had to marry this person, no. But when you fiddle with somebody's mind and spirit enough and put this fear factor in them that they have to get married, then they end up choosing to just out of pure fear, which is not the correct motivation to get married.
Yeah, it's definitely not.
No.
Although I have heard and seen like little clips about how arranged marriages can work, and sometimes people are happy in them. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I think if you're happy and if you have options and if that's what you decide to do, it's all good. Like you do you. But I have an issue when people aren't given options or given the option to make up their own mind, like forcing someone to kind of like do something out of their own will. It's kind of like a little bit wrong.
Kind of like a little bit wrong.
Yeah, like that's...
When it comes down to these sorts of things like arranged marriages, it's human rights. So if you're talking about human rights...
That's a little bit more than a little bit wrong. Shit, okay, we fucking went straight into like human rights.
It is your right to choose who you marry. It is your right to, and I don't know, humans want to fuck around with stuff and try and make it something that it's not. It's your right to decide who you're going to marry.
So you're not married anymore.
I am not married anymore. We
single and ready to mingle.
No, I'm very much not ready to mingle.
Oh, you remarried?
No, I didn't remarry. But I'm not a woo girl. I'm not out here like, here I am, boys.
The fuck's a woo girl? I haven't heard that one before. You're single and ready to Pringle? What flavour Pringles?
The
sour
cream and those ones.
There is something about sour cream, like that tangy flavour in your mouth.
Those ones I could eat through an entire sleeve.
It's fucking artificial flavouring though, isn't it?
But the original ones are artificially flavoured and they don't have the same kick, so...
What do you mean?
Riddle me that.
As in like the spiciness?
No, just like the craving.
I think it's because they changed their recipe, didn't they?
I've heard this.
I think Pringles changed their recipe, and then there might have been like some massive backlash because they in the manufacturing plant they went through some cost cutting like exercise and they took out some ingredients.
Sounds like them.
And then it was like really fucking bland.
Sounds like Papa Pringle.
Yeah, and then and you can like bring that closer to you if you're gonna sit back. But yeah, there was like public outrage, and then
damn straight,
and
because
then they
don't go fiddling with the recipe.
Yeah, and then they put the recipe back.
Good to hear.
So how do you know Delilah?
Oh, I love Delilah.
She's coming back from Japan. Is she back yet?
I don't know.
She's probably still traveling.
Oh, everything she does.
She's a babe.
She's a babe. I just from day dot with Delilah have just adored her. She's so good. So it's people like that They're like the sour cream and chives Pringle of the world, you know?
The original recipe.
Yeah, the original.
We're gonna slate a new term. Everyone slates the OG, but we're gonna slate the OR. Fuck,
Original.
I can't say R's properly
Why not?
because I've got a Chinese tongue.
Oh, it's not designed to be.
Nah, it's not designed for the R's, so I have to really.
Sorry.
What do you mean? No, you don't have to say sorry. Growing up, I always used to say W.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, my sister was like
That's-
super mean. She'd always get me to
That's
sing.
like my dad. He was Slovakian. He'd get the W and the V mixed up. Vampire.
Vampire. That's kind of cute.
It's adorable.
Anyway, so Delilah. So how did you meet Delilah? Just through dancing, through the industry.
Maybe men's scale. I was working there for 4 years.
Wow.
I think she came in and did shows there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Because she's a real showgirl.
She's a proper top shelf showgirl. None of these, walking in and bringing your boombox. She's bloody.
Yeah. I mean, she's like Star Active Sexpo.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's like, could be one of the, when they have a movie and they're trying to portray strippers, she could be like the one that they bring in to do an actual show.
And she's such a, I'm actually going to get her on the podcast.
Here you are.
Belinda's actually coming next week.
Oh,
She's just so like real. So the thing about me is it's definitely something that I have built up over time, the skill and ability to do it, because I've always had this skill and ability. I just never knew what it was. And so in my corporate job, about 13 years ago, I realized that I had this skill, and I just like developed, and it's
but being genuine?
No.
Okay.
I'll get to what the skill is.
I really want to know what the skill is.
Yeah, I'll get to what the skill is. And it's allowed me to kind of be successful in my corporate job. So when I started doing photography like 11 years ago, I realized that skill is universal. Like it can be used for both. And so I use this skill like in my photography to get great photos, to get great videos, like to connect with people and all that type of stuff. And I always get asked by photographers like, can you teach me how you take these photos? And I'm like, yeah, I can totally teach you. But I know that you're not going to be able to take the photos because you kind of don't have this ability.
Accessibility.
So I can see people's auras.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And so if someone's having a bad day and they come for a shoot, I'll know how to influence the aura to get it to a level that I need to get it to. And similarly the other way, if someone's like had too many Red Bulls or that, like had too many coffees and they're hyper, like I'll pick that up and then I'll be able to like tone it down so then we can get more of those shots.
An energy mover.
Yeah. And so what it also means, though, is that I absorb a lot of people's energy. And as I've gotten older, I struggle with large groups.
Of course.
But only when, I guess, I'm open to accepting those people's energies, But yeah.
So I found when I finished the psychotherapy, I found that I knew that talk therapy wasn't enough for people. And during that time, I gave up drinking, gave up drugs, and I started meditating. Really,
Drugs are bad. Drugs are bad.
it was Panadol mostly.
Paracetamol. I heard ibuprofen's not good for you either.
It's really bad for you. Panadol's very bad for you. The body has to process it twice to get the toxins out. Like,
The fuck?
don't do drugs.
They're fucking they're fucking promoting Nurofen. It's got ibuprofen in it.
Literally, it's going to be one of those things when we look back in history and we're like, remember when we used to take ibuprofen?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I got...
Let me just call a friend.
I like that one. It brings back memories. So I was meditating a lot and...
So you gave up drinking.
Gave up drinking.
Gave up taking Panadol.
Gave up taking Panadol. Had a big old spiritual awakening and had all of these abilities start to come online. I didn't know what they were, and I wasn't listening to anything, wasn't listening to podcasts, nothing. This was just like me in my house, just experiencing stuff. I started to be able to see the energy very clearly, and somehow I ended up doing kinesiology. So the kinesiology that I, have been training in is literally when I go into trance and I see people's energy, you can see the trauma as energy spots in their body.
Yeah.
So tell me more about yours though.
Do you see colours?
I feel colours and textures.
Yeah, okay.
So it might be spiky if they're, wanting to ward people off.
Yeah.
Might be smooth, might be... Do you just see colours?
No, I see colours and shapes.
Like geometrical patterns? What do you...
Yeah. Like just like all over, and sometimes...
Do me.
Well, you've got good energy.
Thanks.
That's a song, isn't it? Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got good energy. Like it's very blue, which I think
is that just because I read a blue dress on?
No. Well, maybe for like right now, but I think my interpretation is like blue's very calming and it's very balanced. Like red is like, oh my god,
Very
something's going on. Like it's defensive.
Yeah.
Yellow can sometimes be like a bit standoffish, kind of, and then like the shape of yours is very like circular, so there's not a lot of geometric stuff happening, but like some people will have like spikes coming out of it.
Yeah, I see that too.
And because it's energy, it like changes. So like when people come into my space here for a shoot, like it'll be what it is when I first see it, but then as we kind of like go through the shoot, it like calms down and like all of that. And it's funny because like at the end of the day, everything is actually energy.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Which I think some people can't comprehend, but...
No, because we've spent so much of the world is just... we have decades and near on bloody centuries of just being conditioned and used and programmed and this uprising that's happening at the moment, which is so exciting, of people like starting to wake up.
What's the uprising?
The uprising of the... I want to say it's something like the people of the...
The original recipes. Shit.
Oh shit. The people that are saying nah. Those people.
So the people that are going against like mainstream and just calling things out.
Yeah, because it's getting too tiring, it's too painful, it's too obvious. Like time's up. Big corporate, pharma, big all of that.
Well, I think COVID was like a big event for that, right?
Everybody says, "Oh, it was so bad." No, it wasn't. I mean, it was shocking, obviously, and RIP and all of those sorts of things. But it was time for everybody to have a little break, and it all happened again, like some form of.
Hopefully not in this fucking lifetime.
Not
I
that.
don't think I can fucking handle going through it
not
again.
Another lockdown.
God damn, he's not in power anymore. We can't. we can't. He won't be putting us into another lockdown.
D-bag.
Yeah. So, are you still in the industry?
I'm still in the industry. So I went through this time when I was qualifying and things where I thought, fantastic, I'll qualify and then I can be free from this, industry that, people, look down upon, et cetera, et cetera. And then as time's gone on, I've realized that, no, I'm meant to be here for a reason, Like my heart really feels for the women in the industry. Like I have a really deep love for them. And I just...
Are you in love with someone in the industry?
Maybe.
Is she an OR?
So he says it's a she. There's lots of gentlemen in the industry.
Fuck. Okay, all right. It's exclusive.
Do you see me trying to dodge so heavily around these questions?
100%. Welcome to Dodgeball.
Parkour!
Parkour. That's some fucking hard shit, parkour.
Have you tried it?
Bro, no?
I just tried a class of boxing and I can hardly move, let alone bloody...
When did you do boxing?
I did boxing, yesterday or the day before.
Why?
Bro.
What did you
I
do?
would not do well in a ring at the moment. Give me a month.
I've been doing... So I've done... I fucking hate cardio. But
Same.
I've done 6 days straight, an hour a day. I'm fucked.
It's horrible. What, of running?
Nah, fuck that. Nah, I'm not running.
Yuck. Running's yuck.
Because like there's all this stuff online about like half an hour incline walk, So I'm like, okay, all right. So I did so I've been doing half an hour incline walks for a while. I'm like, I'll just like crank it up a little bit. I'll do an hour, right? Do an hour. And like the first couple of days, I was like, fuck, it's like really hard. But now I'm 6 days in and I'm like,
Powering through it.
yeah, it's weird. Like after the hour, because you got those endorphins running through your body, you're like, yeah, that's the feeling I like. Yeah.
And then you get this junky feel about it where you're like, oh, that's the good stuff.
Yeah, I need to start doing ice baths again. I've got an ice bath out there.
So I started at a recovery place. That's how they hooked me with the boxing, because they've got a sauna and an ice plunge, magnesium ice plunge.
Mm-hmm.
And then they said, why don't you just try a class? And next minute,
That's how they get you in.
here I am.
Mate, you're going to be a
my God.
welterweight.
You wait, you'll see my poster up.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
female boxing.
So sorry, we got like
Jeez. We just wandered off the path for a little second.
Nothing is. We're gonna unbutton everything.
Every
topics. You haven't got any buttons on. I don't either.
We're gonna unbutton all the buttons.
Yeah. So you've got a love for the industry.
I've got a
and
love
for people in the industry.
And for people in the industry because they're so gutsy. They're so they're doing what they want to do.
Yeah.
Without needing society's permission, without needing society's acceptance. Like I think if I was to stand for something, it would be it would be about that, backing and supporting people that are doing things out of just because that's who they are.
Yeah, it's kind of what I said before about allowing people to have options. Like if you have options and then they choose to do something, then that's great. Like, you know, but if you don't give people options and you kind of like restrict them, you're kind of not really allowing them to make up their own mind.
No.
And I'm the same. Like I have a lot of respect for people who, you know, are in the industry, adult industry, whatever industry, because they love doing what they're doing, and it shows. Like it shows that they love it.
Mm-hmm.
Where potentially some people, you know, shouldn't be doing it is when it shows that they're kind of not happy, or like they're doing it for the wrong intentions, or they're, you know, like it could be a myriad of things.
Or it's really damaging for them.
Yeah, it's really damaging. Yeah.
It's a really... I just never thought that I would be somebody. I'm, 7 years in now of being in the industry in some formal capacity of, you know, I've sort of pivoted around. And so I'm an OR. But, you know, it's kind of something that you can't really explain to somebody who's not what the ins and outs are of how you have to be, or, you know, the way that you need to like present yourself.
Yeah.
Or, you know, dodge the potential pitfalls, you know.
Yeah, and I think I've always been one for like breaking stereotypes. Like if you
love a stereotype breaker.
If you have a if society says that you need to be a certain way or do a certain thing, and you can't do this and you can't do that, it's kind of a bit of a trigger for me.
I know, me too.
And I'm like,
don't tell me don't, because I will.
Yeah.
Because you've said not
Thanks,
to.
Thanks, Dad. You're the one that gave me that. He would always say
arranged
no.
marriage, you reckon? Yeah, well, arranged marriage this.
Yeah. We'll get back to the arranged marriage situation. Yeah, so I'm always like, you know what? Like, if you think I am a certain way, then that's great. Long hair, tattoos, I can communicate. It's kind of like you think a certain thing then, like, unless you know me and unless you actually deeply understand my character, like, you ain't never really going to know me.
Yeah, but the stereotyping that people use, anybody that does stereotype, they're doing it out of fear because they want to they want to categorize to be able to, like, present a more tangible object that they can dance around, you know?
Yeah, but then I also think like stereotypes are driven by people's own experiences as well. And I'm just going to get on my box right now. I know I'm different.
You're a snowflake.
Look, if I could take everybody in my shoes for everything that I've been through, you know, potentially you may come out like me, potentially you may not. But, like, you know, grew up overseas, didn't really know where I fit in, had Australian friends that would, like, hate on me for being Australian.
Where'd you grow up?
Southeast Asia. Beautiful. Yeah, my mum's Indonesian, my dad was Australian. We grew up overseas. We'd never lived in Australia. And, like, when I've met, like, Australian kids, they were like, well, what part of Australia did you live in? And we were like, well, we've never lived in Australia. You know,
how old were you?
Oh, like, so up until I was 14, we lived in Southeast Asia.
Shit.
Yeah. So then I'd say, oh, well, we've never lived in Australia. And of course, with kids being cruel, they're like, well, how can you call yourself Australian?
Oh.
Yeah. And then, whenever we used to go back to Indonesia, you know, I was 6 foot at like age 12, right? And like me being 6 foot and like the most Asian looking kid out of my siblings, you know, people stare like you don't fit in. My uncle, so my mum's brother, he took me to my first nightclub in Indonesia. I think I was 11.
Indonesians are like, let him in. Let him in.
Yeah.
Yeah, my niece and nephew, they're half Thai. And I was trying to explain to them, like, you guys are really beautiful.
Yeah.
But, like, people in the country don't understand that
Yeah.
because they're intimidated by it.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
exactly right.
But you, as a kid, you don't know that it's intimidation. You think it's because you're not okay.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
You internalize it and you kind of go, well, why is everybody staring at
Yeah.
me, you know?
Yeah.
And then when we used to go to Perth, because that's where my dad was from and all of his side of the family, you know, like they just like treat us different.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, like I love them to bits, but we knew that we were being treated different, you know?
And how did that kind of present itself as you carried along? Like, what did that bring out for you as you got older?
Well, for me, I didn't really know where I fit in because we lived in Southeast Asia and the Southeast Asians didn't want, they made us feel like we were different, we didn't belong. And the expats that were there made us feel different, we didn't belong. And then any of the countries that we went to, they didn't make us feel like we belong. So I'm like, where do I belong? I don't know.
That belonging piece is so important for humans, eh?
Yeah, like that goes back to caveman days, right? Like just wanting to be a part of a group, right? And like I, up until I was 18, I was a completely different person. Like imagine the complete opposite to how I am today. That's how I was. And then something happened when I was 18 with my dad, and yeah, like that just flipped a switch in me around this whole piece of like breaking stereotypes and wanting to like prove to myself and prove to other people that you can be whoever you want to be. You know, if your intentions are good, if your intentions are, you know, if they match your values and things
and
like
if
that.
you're doing it genuinely.
Yeah, and if you're doing it genuinely, right? And so, you know, I think we go through life wearing different masks, and like you can and sometimes you need to wear different masks. But then for me personally, it has been this journey of trying to merge these two or merge masks together so that I have limited masks that I have to wear. Yeah. Because what's that? There's a I think it's Anthony Robbins, or it could be someone else. There's a quote he says. It says like whenever someone asks you a question, just always tell the truth. Because with lies, you have to fucking remember them. And
It's tiring.
And if you always tell the truth, you got nothing to remember because you're just telling things how they are.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
But I think like that piece of it, for me, a big theme for my entire life has been freedom. And I think the freedom to be able to say this is who I am and this is what I want to do, regardless of whether you accept it or agree with it or not. And so sometimes I say to people, look, I really think that females should do like a 6-month like stint in a club like every woman just wants, because the ability
holy shit.
Controversial opinion.
I mean
but it just puts you in a place where, okay, I'm doing this even though society doesn't necessarily agree with it.
Yeah.
And so it's no longer about, am I doing something because I'm going to get accepted and then I'm going to stay in the group, in the society group.
Yeah, and it's not about that.
No.
I think it's about connecting with your body and connecting with like a part of yourself that you may or may not know you had, which is actually why I will take photos of anybody because everybody should have a shoot.
Everybody should.
I mean, for fuck's sake, like I had a shoot. I had a shoot by a model that I shot with, and she moved.
I saw it the other day.
She moved to Adelaide,
beautiful.
and she was taking up photography, and she's really good at it. And so I was like, I want you to take my photos.
Oh, it was top shelf.
And so it's kind of, you know, as a photographer, you have to get in front of the camera. There's so many additional benefits that you're going to get as a photographer. Like,
what do you find?
Well, you know, you get to experience the photo shoot, you know, scenario. So then you can relate to models or relate to people who haven't modeled before, and you can see the emotions. You know, I don't know, maybe this is like just me, but like, yeah.
And how it how the connection, it's like with any kind of physical activity, the connection between what you're thinking and then what your body does with that information.
Exactly. And so because communication is such a big thing, like if you can't communicate properly, which is also why I'm always kind of like putting up those posts of me kind of like getting into poses and stuff like that, which I know are hilarious. And people are always laughing when I show them what to do like during a shoot because it's just funny. And like I had someone yesterday, they're like, it's all about the facial expressions. And I'm like, yeah, it is.
It really is. You can have a beautiful pose, but if your face is not selling it,
so me getting in front of the camera, having a photo shoot done, but then me consistently putting myself in front of the camera and like posting videos or posting photos just adds to that whole like trust component. So then people know who they're actually working with when they come to come to get photos done.
Yeah.
Because I think if you don't do that, the person, if a person had, so if you had two photographers and one of them shows videos of themselves and the other one doesn't, chances are you're going to go with the photo video guy.
We're just like, we're in an era and a time where you have to be the face of what you're doing. You can't get away from it.
There is another component to it though, because I know that some people will have an online persona versus a real life persona. And so for me, again, it comes back to this, like just trying to be authentic and true to yourself, which is why like I'm consistently like putting up stupid memes or like things that I find funny or like things about a cat or like, you know.
And because you got to remember that like if you're putting up like who you actually are, it's not going to cost you any energy because it's going to be you enjoying yourself. But if you're trying to create a persona, it's going to be exhausting. And how long can you keep up with that?
Yeah, and then something I always get as well, particularly with people that I haven't met before, and they come for a shoot, like I can tell that they are kind of like, you're exactly like you are online. And I'm like, I am. This is actually how I am. I don't know. I can't be anybody else.
It's so good.
And so for me, it has always been, for me, I have tried to fit in and tried to do things the right way. But then I've realized that I kind of don't want to do that.
Mm.
I want to do me.
Your way.
Yeah, my
Yes,
way.
yes.
Because
And thank God for that, honestly.
yeah, because I know that my passion will come through more.
100%.
And if anything, like I just get to share my personality with people.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Whether or not you take it or not is up to you. But like,
Well, that's like what I mean. You can just tell that from a million miles away. Like when you meet somebody. Like when I met you,
I was not wearing a dress though.
you weren't wearing a macrame op shop number.
No.
It was so easy to connect with you because there's just you. There's not, piles of like stuff and things you're trying to pretend to be and whatever it is. And that's how I've tried to be over time too, because I feel like your experiences are just so much more real and you get to enjoy, those times, I think.
So have you, through your new certification, had some like curly like situations?
So when you start in the mental health space, it's pretty much just like the flood is out there waiting to be let in.
Fuck.
So you need to really position yourself, because I'm in it for the long haul. I'm not in it for a year and then to get burnt out. So when you start, there's a lot of people that are like wanting to work with you because they've got this problem and that problem. But really, majority of these people are wanting somebody to be able to project and dump their crap on.
Mm-hmm.
So I realized that half of my certification and all of like what I learnt in school at uni, that's only part of it, because the rest of it is me, like we were talking about, setting something up that I genuinely enjoy doing so that it's not going to burn me out. So I actually had to put the brakes on and be like, no, I'm not working with anybody yet until I find my niche of what it is and the way that I want to do it as well. And it may not be in talk therapy, and it may not be in one-on-one sessions,
What does that mean?
Well, if you think about like efficiency, if you're talking about people like you and I, when we feel everybody's emotions, we feel a lot of stuff. When I do a healing session with somebody or any of those sorts of sessions, I come out and I feel like I've been hit by a bus, because I feel everybody's experience rifling through me. So to be honest with you, it's not going to be worth the $180 to then need 2 days of recovery. You know what I mean? But the information that I have, I want to be able to give to as many people as possible. So, it's about working out a more efficient way of giving that to people, whether that be masterclasses, whether that be selling courses that I create. Like, it doesn't have to be podcasts.
You should start a potty.
There's not enough of them out there.
Oh, did I just? I'm sure
there's a shortage of podcasts, I've heard.
I'm sure there's. Really? Are you serious? There's fucking plenty of podcasts out there.
It was a joke.
Oh. Yeah, right. Have you ever thought of just like slowly kind of like easing your way into things, like just testing things out?
Well, that's what I'm doing at the moment, because I'm really good at pivoting.
Ooh. So you're doing some beta testing?
I'm doing some market research at the moment. So
I feel like this is one of those sessions.
Well, you can be, because one of the avenues that I want to go down is empowering women against toxic predatory male behavior. So I'm trying to really
Fuck, that's so specific.
I know, but it gets me going. Like,
yeah,
the idea of giving women the tools so that they don't have to go through situations
is there a machete involved? Do you like hand over a machete, like
ninja knives?
Yeah.
That's all it is me just handing over illegal weapons. No, but empowering them to understand.
How do you get them into the country?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Sorry. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So I'm interested in knowing what your favorite tattoo is
On me or on you?
on you.
On me?
Yeah.
Oh, I actually can't show the camera. No, my favorite tattoo is here on my ribs.
Yeah.
It was my ex's initial.
Fuck.
And it's annoying because it was an A, and then the person that I ended up seeing, his starts with an A, so I could have just bloody left it there. Anyway,
You had it covered up.
I had it covered up, so I had 6 sessions of removal on it, so it was like literally torture. And then I had
I've heard that. I've heard the removal is more painful
I had
than
an
the
out of body experience where I was standing beside myself going, "Oh, that looks painful."
Were you on Panadol?
I was high on Panadols.
Right. Shit, mate.
I just lived the crazy life, you know. And I got it covered with a woman's face. And the woman's like just represents.
It's kind of a little bit symbolic. You had like a male's initial on there, and now it's like smothered with a female.
Smothered with. It's just smothered with, empowerment. So that's my favorite.
Right.
Yeah. What about you? I love this side.
This side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's giving Emperor's New Groove vibes.
I love the Japanese
Yeah.
on that
Sick.
side, and the fact that I've got my whole leg done as well.
So good.
And I'm booked in. I actually have an appointment tomorrow for a measuring session for my back. Getting a dragon on my back, whole back, and then I'll get my ribs done with that design. Yeah.
Electric Rooster, where I got all these chrysanthemums done, he does that same style.
So the reason I'm getting this is because I've transformed myself that many times throughout my life. I do have a little koi on my shin, and I'll get another one here.
Yep.
But it's that mythology of the fish traveling up the river against the current through the rocks and stuff to transform into a dragon.
So rich with symbolism.
Oh,
I love it.
I'm like, it's just all me. I did consider getting a phoenix, but
that's very close to the.
But sometimes the phoenix, because it is in the same family as a chicken, a phoenix can look like a chicken.
It can be a bit KFC-ish.
Yeah, and so whilst I love the dirty bird, it's kind of like, nah, I think a dragon's probably better.
Good move.
Has more
Good move.
and this is.
Bless all animals equally.
I love all animals.
And good, chickens, good for them. But
Yeah.
having it on your skin's another thing. So, you don't have any white girl quotes anywhere?
What? What do you mean, white girl quotes?
Well, I have "Beyond fear lies freedom."
Oh, no, I don't have it. Nah.
Okay.
No.
Well, you're lost. Maybe
I
we
mean,
should
I'll-
add that to the measure up.
Well, I was going to get surrender at some point.
Well, that's not a white girl quote. That's just a really
That's
good.
yeah. That's a
It's
fucked
really
up
nice.
word for me because I'm like, I just fucking see it. Sometimes I'll see it all over the place. I'm like, what are you trying to tell me, buddy?
Do you know what the craziest thing is? And this is always how the universe works. I literally yesterday was talking to somebody, and they were talking to me about they're going through their Saturn return. They didn't know what a Saturn return was. For anybody that doesn't know what that is, through the age of 28 through to about 30 or 31, you go through a really difficult kind of, groundbreaking time in your life to bring you to your next phase of life.
How many times can you go through them?
Are you still going through yours? Is
Bro,
yours an
I've gone through
extended Saturn
5.
They should be finishing up soon.
I feel like I am in my last phase now.
Okay.
I'm like, this is how I'm going to be.
But I had a word come, like I had a, sometimes when I'm speaking to people, there's like a message that wants to come through to them from the guides and stuff. And I don't want to say it, but the guide's like, fucking say it. And I had said to her, I was like, look, the thing is, and I feel like the message for you is that you need to surrender into it. And this was just yesterday.
I need to fucking pee. Hang on, we'll be back.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that.
You need to pee as well? You can go to the downstairs toilet.
Okay,
I'll go
okay.
upstairs toilet. And we're back. So surrender with this like
But the message
person
was
yesterday.
surrender,
That's fucking freaky, man.
isn't it? And here we are.
The fact that you also said that their guide was kind of like telling them this.
Mm-hmm.
So before I moved here, my mum took me to see I'm thinking psychedelic, but no, it's not psychedelic. Like a
Just as like spirit work.
yeah, spirit work. Yeah. And she read like tarot cards, and we did like the tea leaf thing. Blah blah blah. Anyway, this woman says to my mum, "Don't worry, he's got someone like looking over him."
Yeah, no shit.
And it's an old woman. It's an older woman, and I'm like, "Is that?" So that's kind of like stuck with me, and I still have the cassette tape that's got the recording of that session. But I've always been thinking to myself, is that how come things are always kind of working out for me?
Yeah.
Because she's like guiding me through.
It's not
and
just her, it's other. You've got, if you don't mind me speaking about what I see.
Sure. Holy shit. Hang on, let me.
Sometimes we have, because it's like in the quantum, it's not.
Fuck. In the fucking quantum.
It's sometimes difficult for us to wrap our brains around how the system of having guides works.
Sure.
You know, because, you know, I've heard Rogan talk about it, and he's like, as if we have, you know, this team around us that's so narcissistic. No, it doesn't work like that. It's not like we have our private team and they're only there for us. But you know, on the other side, it doesn't work with time and space the same way. So
Right.
the energy of your family line is obviously very strong. And so, yes, there is maybe that one, you know, older woman as a figure. But I just see it as like stacked up like cards behind you of an entire like ancestry line that's like brought you to this point and has a really strong like energy behind it that's pushing you forward.
Right. Is that what you see?
Yeah, so from when I first met you.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I was was not wearing a dress that day. I do not wear a dress. Actually, I wore a dress once. I think that was on my 30th.
Did you look pretty?
We had a dress-up party. That was fucking hilarious. Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
So, hang on. Go back to the quantum.
Mm-hmm.
I'm intrigued.
What part?
I don't know. Tell me more.
It's pretty much everything that you don't see. So the universe just works by all of these laws, but they do so in a way outside of the 3D, obviously. And we as a Western society, we aren't tapped into these things because we've spent so much time putting ourselves in the cerebral and teaching ourselves to be, you know, these thinkers, and that detaches us from what our body knows and what our spirit knows and what our energy actually knows, which is just like an infinite amount more than what the brain can actually comprehend. So it's really painful for us to start tapping into, okay, what is energy, like we were talking about, what does energy mean for us, and then how we can actually start to like get an understanding in ourselves of how that works, you know.
I think that could be its own podcast talking about that.
Oh, literally, it gets me going. I can tell you that much.
So what do you have planned for like the rest of this year, 2024?
So
are we going to do a shoot at some point?
Yes, so we are. I was saying to you before that when he asked, should we do a shoot or should we do a podcast? I was
Amazing.
like, oh,
the listeners will be looking forward to that, especially Rob.
Rob,
the man who can't put words together whenever you're in the same room.
And I was like, hello, my name is Xanthia, and he was just like, okay.
She said her name. It's pretty funny though.
It was really funny. The people.
So the rest of this year, what's going down?
So I've got 2 more. This kinesiology I'm doing. It's called emotional and metaphysical kinesiology. So it's it's pretty much condensed. That just means that, you know, you're using muscle reflex to access the subconscious.
Right.
And so when you tap into that space, you're like, you know, you're dealing with the quantum, you're dealing with people's ancestry, they're this, they're that. Anyway, that's a kind of incremental course. I've got 2 more of those workshops and then a practitioner's training. So that's pretty much taking up the rest of the year. And also just like we were talking about before, just being super genuine with what I'm putting forward online and not rushing into it or trying to do it for validation, but really like find where my niche is, talk about the things that I really care about, and find where my skill sets shine, you know. So
I think it's always important to be like authentic, and I keep saying that word, but like being true to yourself, you know, and putting that energy out into the universe, because the universe will answer and it'll come back, you know. And it's certainly what I felt when, 1, I met you, and 2, I bumped into you at the local cafe. Like, that was a bit freaky. And what did you say to me? You were like, I didn't know if it was you or if it was somebody else.
You didn't have your glasses on, so it was like, I didn't know whether it was maybe you had a brother or something.
I do have a couple doppelgangers here in Melbourne. I've got 4 guaranteed.
Shout out.
Yeah. Not so much anymore because I've obviously grown my hair out.
Yeah.
And it's kind of me now. So, but yeah, I couldn't go out when I first came here, thanks to a particular celebrity that won Celebrity Big Brother in 2001. I was like, fucking hell. Like every time I went out, someone was like,
Who?
hey, are you that guy? Are you that guy? I'm like, no, I'm not that
I
guy.
don't remember who that was. Are you showing your age now? Is that what's happening?
Possibly.
2001. I don't think my interests were in Big Brother around then.
Yeah. So Dylan Lewis.
Yeah, it doesn't.
So he hosted the ABC music show Recovery.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, that's annoying.
Yeah. And then a couple of other doppelgangers, but I won't mention them. But anyway. And then a guy that I actually used to work with. It's like very similar background. He was a bit like smaller, shorter, and I worked on level 7 and he worked on level 6. And whenever I used to go to level 6, I'd be in a meeting room and like these not randoms, but people that weren't invited into the meeting, they'd like walk past and they'd be like, oh, I didn't realize we had a meeting yet. Oh, and his name was Andrew. And they're like, oh, I didn't realize we had a meeting, Andrew. And I'm like, I don't know who you are.
You should have played with them and been like, we do. If you just start the meeting now, I'll be back.
I wasn't as clued on to that type of behavior.
Missed out.
Yeah,
I've got some, because my background's Slovakian, I've got some like Eastern European doppelgangers.
Yeah.
I've got some Swedish ones.
Are they famous?
They're not famous enough to be mistaken for them.
Right.
But I've seen some where I've been like, we're on the
Are
same
they
team.
here in Melbourne?
No. But I have there's an ABC News presenter called Xanthia Gregory. And my mum.
Hang on, I thought that was you.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, that's what I do
So
in
you
my
secretly moonlight on TV, a news reporter.
I didn't think I'd bring it
The
up.
fuck?
I thought I'd
I tell you, I'm getting all types of people on this podcast. I've had like a music producer, I've had a radio host, like dancers, fucking photographers. Like I meet all types of people on this thing. It's fucking wild.
Who knows? More that my my modeling content goes out there, the more that people are like, oh, you whatever. No, mate,
What?
I'm not.
Why do you put on that voice? Oh, you.
That's my white male Australian voice.
Is that your target market?
Definitely not.
No.
No.
Do you have a target market for your
I was
modelling?
thinking about it. For my modelling. I
Yeah.
think back in the day,
Surely there'd be like a
I'll be
particular.
honest with you. No, the modelling has just been fantastic for just self-discovery in general. And it was always something that I just wanted to do.
That's so
And then picked up because I was just doing it naturally as something I enjoyed.
Yeah.
And, you know, I started off with, I got an invitation by, Tristan. And he's honestly the best. Like he just helped me in my very beginning stages, teaching me how to model.
Mm.
And he'd be like, and this is how you do this. And he'd like give me tips on my styling and stuff. And then from there, it just like kicked off and I just kept on doing more and more shoots. And it was always just something that I really, really enjoyed. And even now, like I see I've got, people that know me through that. But I never did it for that. I did it because I just enjoyed it, It was expression for me.
Yeah. If someone came to you and wanted advice to start off modelling, like what would you tell them?
Well, funnily enough that you say that, my little half-Thai nephew, not little anymore, he's 16, but he came to me and he's like, Xanthia, you're the only one that I know with a big following. Can you tell me how do I do this? And I thought, oh my God, that's the cutest thing. But I said to him, just contact as many photographers as possible. Do shoots for just exchange shoots where the photographer gets you as their model, you get the photos.
Collaboration.
Just collab as much as possible, and use that as your way of getting into it because that's the only way really you're going to be able to learn how to model properly.
Yeah.
And then just get in front of the camera, start doing. Just take pictures of yourself and all of that sort of stuff.
it is actually something that I'm consistently telling photographers as well, is that if you're not picking up the camera every single day and like shooting something, like you're not progressing, you're not learning enough.
But what do you tell them for like your obviously your eye for artistic composition? How do you advise them on that?
It's the same. You have to shoot.
Mm.
Because it's that saying around 10,000 hours till mastery, right?
Yeah.
So how do you get better at composition? You just have to fucking do the work. How do you get better at finding the right models? You got to do the work. How do you get better at editing? You got to do the work. There's no like magic pill or magic,
loophole.
loophole.
What's your favorite type of shoot to do?
I go through waves where I really love the classic boudoir stuff, and being able to use natural light versus artificial light. Like it really depends. Like if someone's got a particular feature that I think would look really great for like natural light, then like that really gets me going. Because I like to think that I'm telling a story around my imagery and like how, like when someone sees, it's why I'm consistently doing those voyeur shots when the model's on my bed and I'm shooting through the bathroom door. And I've done that shot so many times, but like every single time I'm like, holy fuck, that's hot. I'm like, wow. Because at the end of the day, it's a different person.
Yeah.
It's a different person.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, so, and then obviously, the emotion that you feel when you look at that photo is, I shouldn't be looking at the photo.
Yeah.
But I'm going to continue looking at the photo. And then when I do a video of them doing the exact same thing, there's like, this shit's going to get me cancelled. Or like, this shit's going to get taken down by the AI bot, you know? But then I'll also go through waves where I want to be more like creative with like settings and intricate like outfits or like detail, you know. And for me, it is also this piece around like flipping between being consistent versus being creative. You can't do both all of the time every day.
Yeah, you really need to. Well, you need to understand enough of what your flavor is.
Yeah.
To be able to hold some sort of stability between the two as well.
Yeah. And so, I mean, you look at my Instagram feed, there's like heaps of themes, right? Like I've got beach, I've got sand dunes, I've got cars, I've got like, you know, swimwear, I've got boudoir, I've got nude, I've got, you know, like a whole bunch of stuff. So, I just like doing lots of different things.
But I feel like those may be the different settings, but the theme underneath of you and your style runs throughout all of them, which creates that congruency.
Exactly. Yeah. And it only happened probably like 2 or 3 years ago. Someone said to me, like, how do you get that girl next door look? And I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. They're like, you really like capture girl next door. And I'm like, interesting. So what I guess I really try to do is not be so posy.
Yeah.
And try to capture those in-between moments.
100%.
So like, yeah, So if we did a shoot, I'd be like, okay, I want you to go like this, and then I'll give you the count, 1, 2, 3, and we'll go like this to like that. And I'll say somewhere in between is Xanthia. Because I would have picked up in the first 2 minutes some mannerisms from you. And obviously we've been sitting here for an hour and 20 minutes. I've picked up lots of mannerisms from you, not only from today, but from previously that I want to capture.
Amazing.
And there's a checklist in my head already about all those things that I would get you to do. And that's kind of what people have termed as girl next door. Because it's those little moments that I can capture as part of you going through your day, you know, and like when people look at it, they're like, oh, yeah.
I found that when I was younger, like I used to be an artist in terms of I used to do real life charcoal. You know, I had all these sort of artistic pursuits, and so it's always kind of been part of me. And I found that the modeling aspect is a type of artistry that there's so much behind what comes forward with the photo. And as I get older and I get more mature, my photos, you know, when I first started, they were very posy and they were those glam kind of shots, and there's a time and a place for them.
Yeah.
And I look back at them, I'm like, they look fucking great.
Yeah.
But then as
like that motorbike shoot. Holy shit.
That was recent. That was so good, wasn't it? I loved that one.
Fucking Tristan, you're killing me, buddy.
But that's the thing. That's what, like, I'm 33 this year.
What?
And that's what, for me, that's what, like, the maturity of being able to hold.
Have you got a mask on? What's going on there?
It's called Good Genes Mask. I found that like that level of maturity as a model, to being able to like create the image that's coming forward. And he does videos as well, obviously. So he knows me very well to be able to know what I'm doing. But I found that being able to create an image that speaks so much, that's like one of my ways of artistic expression.
Yeah, it's storytelling, right?
Yeah, and it is my favorite form of protest. My favorite form of social protest. 100%.
What do you mean?
100%.
What are you protesting against?
It's not what it's against. It's protesting my right and females' rights to be as expressive with their bodies as they want to be.
Yeah.
And to have the freedom to express themselves because they want to.
Yeah.
Again, coming back to human rights, like it's my choice to do that.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
And, you know, I think it's like throwing off that kind of conformity, throwing off the religious conformity. It's throwing off just so many things that at the end of the day, you know, it's about me doing with my body what I want to do with it. And those images are so powerful for that, because you look at it and you're like, oh shit, like you're not going to mistake that for anything. You're going to be like, oh, okay, she's doing what she wants to do. Okay.
Yeah, and I think that's also the powerful thing about images is that, I mean, you've already mentioned, like, you can look back at those photos and be like, holy shit, like, yeah, that's me. But it can also take you back to that moment of, like, how you were feeling at that point, you know, and that can be quite powerful as well. Because if you're, you know, like going through a phase where you're like down or a bit depressed or whatever, you'd break out that photo, you're like, holy shit, yeah, like, and there's
really
just like
is
uplifting, you know?
Really is. Because I came to Melbourne, you know, like I left the marriage and things, came to Melbourne when I was 25, and I look at those photos back when I was 25 and my face was just had this sadness about it, which was right for that time because I was fucking sad, you know? And I looked glamorous, but I had an essence of like sadness, of real, like a broken spirit. And now, like, as the time goes on and my shoots have changed over time, that motorbike one that I did recently, like there's nothing sad about that at all. It's just
No.
like
You're riding a hog.
It was good. It was really good.
I mean, yeah.
And some thigh high boots.
And you did that shit with Harley as well.
Oh, I love Harley so much.
She's such a babe.
Can you believe like there are women walking around the earth like that? Like God,
I know, right?
it's just crazy. You had her on here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
I saw it.
I had the most number of saves or most number of sends or like the
'cause she's
views,
got
like,
some good shit to say.
bro, she's got some good shit.
She's really smart.
Yeah.
She's really
That
clever.
little clip that we spoke about, like looking sexy, and she was like,
Yeah.
"You can either look sexy or constipated.
Yeah.
There's no in between." But like, she's perfected the art of like turning the switch on to look sexy.
Oh, it's so good. This smoldering, like,
Yeah, it's the blue
that's-
steel.
the expression is just.
So
Yeah.
where do you get your creativity from?
It's just who I am, I think. It has been since I was really young. Yeah. But there's obviously things that you can do to foster that.
Yeah.
But I think my creativity is really pushed along by just like this fiery passion that I have to like live life in the most full way that I possibly can. And so if I feel like there's a rock that hasn't been turned or there's something that I can kind of explore, then I can start going down that avenue. I've done public speaking like competitions. I've done poetry competitions. I've done writing. I've done like just a whole heap of different avenues of expression. And now I'm going into like different, I wouldn't say more evolved versions, but they're definitely like more political and more kind of driven by different skill sets for
Right.
sure. Yeah. So
So you're going to take over Xanthia Gregory from the TV
she's
news
going
reporting?
down. She looks like a real sweetheart. And
She
if you're
does-
listening,
she does.
Xanthia Gregory, you're doing a great job.
She does sound like a real sweetheart.
She does.
Don't take a job. Maybe you should do like a doppelganger episode with her.
Oh.
Can we get her on the podcast?
Yes,
She-
imagine.
I've got mates that are like, when are you getting another microphone? We want to do 2 people on the
Oh,
couch.
God.
I'm like, bro, I think there's only one seat on the casting couch so far.
No, but people contact my mum and they say,
Your
"Oh,
mum?
Yeah, because they see Xanthia Gregory on the news and they're like,
Aw,
she's doing so well for herself.
that's so cute.
Yes, Xanthia Gregory is doing well for herself. Thank you.
Yeah. Who inspires you?
Oh, God, that's really good. The girls in the industry do.
Boom! Shout out to the girls in the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And I say women because typically women have adversities that are kind of more palpable, and you can really kind of. Humans have adversities. Okay, don't come for me, but I feel as though the things that women have to go through to get to a certain point often are a little bit more gritty. And so when I see like a young female and she's just trying to do the best with her life, I find that very motivating because just the courage that it takes to do that is so much. Like the courage to not just be, okay, this is what my life is and resign yourself to that. Baby strippers, girls that are just fresh in the industry. Get it, girl.
Did you just say baby strippers?
Get that money. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose if the money's there to be taken, like, fucking go get it.
If you're saying to yourself, no, I probably don't want to work in this corporate role on minimum wage and, just for the rest of my life.
It's I get inspired by people every single day, and it's those people who take action. Yeah. Take action to change do something different,
Mm.
try something new, take risks, because I think too often we get forced into this box of conformity and we get comfortable, which is, again, totally fine. It's totally fine. But what inspires me is when I see people doing something else, doing something more, pushing that status quo a little bit more because they can and they should.
Yeah, it gives me goosebumps. when
And
you say that.
I don't know, it's too easy just to sit here and let life go by. Whereas I'm no, I want to live life. I want to see how far I can push this life because, only a few years ago, I was probably in doubt of this whole thing. And then something happened and I was like, no, okay, yep, no, I'm on this path and I need to keep going. And then my mate passed away and then that word, and I'm like, yeah, no, keep going. And yeah, I've got something exciting happening in the next couple of weeks. I'm not going to announce it here. You're just going to have to wait. I'll tell you after.
Okay.
But it's as a result of me doing something.
Yeah.
Taking action,
Pushing the envelope,
and pushing an unknown component, and then someone, realizing that,
because that's
who knows where it can go.
And that's the thing that I love about new adventures down different roads is because. If you are given something by somebody and they say, look, you should do this, and you say, okay, I'll do that, it's already set out. But if you just say to yourself, I'm just going to follow this road, I don't even know where it goes, and it could lead nowhere, it could lead somewhere, and if it does lead somewhere, I don't even know where it's going to lead. That is just, I think that's where the gold is.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, thanks so much for coming on the podcast.
With me. I loved it.
How can people find you?
So I have a business Instagram, which is Xanthia1111, of course. And then
Why
1111? Because it's a really strong
Fuck.
Holding that frequency,
It's a frequency.
It's big boy frequency.
I think it's
big girl.
I think it's just big frequency.
That's me. And then all of my modelling things you can find on Dreaming with Xanthi with an X.
I'll have the little thing come up.
Thanks. So, yes, follow my journey as I become a big healer, activist. Protester.
A big OR.
As I become the big OR that I am.
And a Pringle, ready to mingle.
You're a Pringle.
All right, thanks everyone for listening in, and make sure you subscribe and hit that notification button, and catch you guys all on the next one. Bye.